every morning with drive. Being on the grind, know I had to survive. We had to win. Started from the dirt and the rubble. I had to be the needle that was popping your bubble.
Hello and welcome into the Rookie Prospect Profile Series, folks. This is a Zilla Fantasy Elite production. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button. If you like seeing these machine learning models, the RStudio regression analysis models, they are producing value for you. You should hit that subscribe button. Hit a like, leave a comment. This is a Zilla Fantasy Elite production. Thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to be looking at running back Eric Gray. He's got a very interesting profile. Eric Gray was drafted number 172 overall by the New York Giants, and they come into the league out of Oklahoma University. Looking at some of their physical traits, we can see that Eric Gray comes in at a height of 5'10", 207 pounds. That leaves him with a BMI of 29.7. He's got a 40 time of a sluggish 4.67, giving us a speed score all the way down at 87.0. Pretty poor in terms of prospects. So putting these physical traits along with some of their college numbers into that RStudio regression model, we do get a prospect score for Eric Gray of 11.361, which ranks 216th overall. That is the 30th percentile out of the 310 running backs in the RStudio models database. Shifting over to see who the closest comparables are to Eric Gray's R prospect score, we see that the next closest better than him are Josh Adams, BenJarvus Green-Ellis, Dion Lewis, Jeff Wilson, and Chris Polk. Then the next five below, Jonas Gray, Rex Burkhead, Kyrie Robinson, CJ Anderson, and Myles Gaskin. Not super inspiring here in terms of these prospects. Myles Gaskin, CJ Anderson, not, probably some of the best ones on there, along with Dion Lewis. We've seen Jeff Wilson be successful in some spots here. Jonas Gray had that one huge 4-touchdown game. But in general, these guys don't look like upside plays, and that's kind of what you can expect from Eric Gray. Some of these guys produce when they get the opportunity, but nothing to write home about. And that's really kind of what Eric Gray is all about on here. And I believe his prospect score is indicative of that 30th percentile. And that's where we're going to go with the RStudio model. Now, switching over to that machine learning model for Eric Gray, we can see that his numbers are coming in at 10.15 for the mean, 10.35 for the median, 5.02 for the minimum, 15.3 for that maximum. And then looking at the 10th percentile outcome, we have 6.97. 25th percentile outcome, 8.44. 11.86 for the 75th percentile outcome. And finally, for the 90th percentile outcome, 12.69. And then that mid-50 gap all the way up at 3.42. Pretty high considering that his mean and median were not very high in general. Getting into what some of these numbers mean for Eric Gray, he is at 10.15 for that mean. Just to give you an idea of that particular range, we're looking at Donald Brown, Tyler Algier from last year, Jalen Samuels, Jalen Richard, Mike Gillislee, Javorius Allen. That's the particular range for the mean and median in Eric Gray. Not super inspiring, but that's what it's giving us. That max of 15.34. Get up into that range, we're looking at Chris Thompson, Jordan Howard, Justin Forsett, Danny Woodhead, Kenyon Drake, CJ Anderson, Alfred Morris. A little bit above that, Tony Pollard, Chris Carson, CJ Spiller, Ahmad Bradshaw, DeAndre Swift. That's a little bit better. Those are all within roughly a half of a point, fantasy point per game of Eric Gray's max prediction. So that's kind of the range that you can expect for the median, min, and then that maximum prediction as well. Getting into some of the ranks in terms of where Eric Gray stands amongst his peers in this class. His mean rank, 24th, median rank, 23rd, minimum rank is the 28th best, and the maximum rank, 18th best. Again, he was drafted as the 11th running back off the board behind Chase Brown. And getting into those percentile ranks, 30th, 27th, 19th, 21st, not exactly inspiring. And then getting into that M50 gap, 34th overall, which is basically saying his predictions were spread across a wide range. And even just looking at his graph, you can tell, he's getting a lot of those predictions right around or right below the 12 range, but it is spread out all the way down to 6 and not much above that 12 range. So, having those predictions kind of spread out a little bit wider is just telling you he's a little bit more volatile of a prospect should he get those 80 opportunities in a season, kind of skewing there towards the lower end. A lot of them there right around that 75th percentile range, but kind of a interesting prospect profile. He did have the worst Mimi 50 ratio, which is taking your mean and dividing it by that M50 gap. So basically saying here's what your average prediction is divided by the middle 50 chunk. What is that ratio? His is the absolute lowest in this class. So that's that Mimi 50 ratio. Eric Gray is number 36 in that regard because his mean is only 10.15, but his middle 50 gap is all the way up at 3.42, which, second, third worst in the class this year. So that's Eric Gray in a nutshell, not super inspiring. So that's going to do it for today's rookie prospect profile on Eric Gray. This is presented by Zilla Fantasy Elite. Hopefully these RStudio models and the machine learning models that you're looking at here can give you a little bit of additional confidence or just that additional information to help make some of these decisions and all that analysis that you're doing for all of these incoming rookies. Anyway, folks, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate the view. Have a good one. Bye.
Yeah, whole crew on top, really we on top. Wake up every morning with drive, been on the grind, know I had to survive, we had to win. Started from the dirt and the rubble, I had to be the needle that was popping your bubble.